Hello everyone, and welcome back to a critical retrospective. First of all, thank you so much for all the support you showed my last video. It's so unbelievable that many people wanted to watch my video about ranking the season 4 episodes. I mean, honestly, 249 views in just 40 odd hours. That's unbelievable. And I got 10 new subscribers since I published that video. Despite gaining 10 new subscribers, my YouTube only notified me about 3 of them. To the anonymous 7 individuals who subscribed, I'm so happy. Thank you so much. It's just that YouTube notifications didn't let me know that you subscribed. So, I'm sure you're great people, but I'm gonna stick to the named people for now, okay? Everybody, give it up for Hi, Ollie Celine, and... yeah, Cyrus the Great subscribed to my channel. You know, that Cyrus the Great. I actually owe a lot to Cyrus because he really helped me get this channel off the ground. He shouted out my first video in one of his community posts. He even commented on my video like I've been asking people to. He didn't even have to go that far for me, but he did anyway. He did as much as he could to help a smaller creator, and that's really nice of him. Cyrus, since you're subscribed to my channel, which is a sentence I can't believe I'm saying right now, chances are you're gonna get recommended this video, and chances are you're gonna see all this stuff that I'm saying about you. So, if you're there, thank you so much. I literally could not have done any of this without you. And I'm really looking forward to your season 5 video, just like everybody else. Now, I know I'm droning on about this YouTube stuff, but it's quite important, and I've just got one last thing to say before we talk about Chloe. As previously stated, the ranking video got over 200 views, which I'm really grateful for. Unfortunately, it feels like the ratio of views to subscribers is quite disproportionate. If everyone who watched the first video subscribed to the channel, I'd have over 200 subscribers, which is an unfathomable number. So guys, if you watched my video, please subscribe to the channel, and also leave a like, and also comment on what you would do if you were ranking these episodes. I'd honestly really love to hear your opinions. It's just that the more engagement there is with a video, the more the YouTube algorithm actually recommends it to people, which means the more views I get, which means the more successful my channel becomes. You know, it's a whole thing. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not ungrateful for the amount of support I've gotten in just one video. I'm just saying it could be more, because you always have to be ambitious on this platform. But I understand that just asking you to like, comment, and subscribe without giving you any incentive to do just that is quite bad on my part. So from this video onwards, I'm going to be creating a new system. For the first hour after I upload a new video essay, I'm going to be replying to all of your comments. So feel free to leave me a comment and ask me a question if you want me to respond to it. After all, any questions asked for the first hour after uploading a video are guaranteed to be responded to. You have my word. In addition, in the outro, I'm going to be combing through your comments and picking the one I liked the best, and shouting out the account who said it. My hope is that this will give you guys incentive to actually comment on my videos and engage with my community posts as well, which have been looking pretty dry. Speaking of my community posts, I'm going to be asking you guys more things for my videos so that I can get more preparation. For example, asking you a question that's going to be related to my video in order to give me inspiration for it. And research, honestly. If I were to make a Lila video essay, I would post a community post asking you guys what you think of her character, just so I can get a feel for what you think of her, just so I know how my audience reacts to the character I talk about in my video essays. Hopefully it will boost engagement and make us better as a community. Now, I apologize for how long this intro was, but it was really important for me to set the stage for how things were going to be from now on, so let's actually talk about the main subject for this video essay. Chloe. Chloe Bourgeois in Season 1 could not be simpler. She's an arrogant bully who picks on people because her father is the mayor and she can get away with anything that way. Chloe is the show's secondary antagonist after Hawkmoth, and it shows, honestly. She's almost always the primary reason for somebody getting akumatized by Hawkmoth. She keeps belittling everyone in her class, and so that causes them all to be prime targets for akumatization, and they almost always lash out at her in revenge. She's so shallow this season, as there is absolutely no reason given as to why she acts like this. She was supposed to be the character we love to hate, and we don't even love to hate her, we just hate her. In Season 1, the only bright spot for her character is Adrian. She really loves him and honestly wants to spend all her time with him and wants to protect him. Well, at least that's my interpretation for why she's so possessive over him. And while Chloe can be pretty cruel to everybody around her, at least she doesn't resort to anything too dangerous, which we're gonna get to later. Everything Chloe does is done to serve herself and her ego in Season 1. She was mean and cruel, but she wasn't stupid. This is all foreshadowing for later, okay? Honestly, in season 1, she's just a minor inconvenience, not a world-dominating supervillain like they tried to treat her in later seasons. Furthermore, she loves Ladybug, idolizes her even. And she definitely doesn't side with Hawkmoth. I mean, he's a supervillain, and she's just a bully. She may be evil, but she's not so evil as to ally with him. Once again, please remember this for later. To be frank, there's not really much I can say about Chloe in season 1 because there's really nothing to her. There's no depth, there's nothing to analyze or dissect. I guess there's something to say about her relationship with Sabrina, but Sabrina's a pushover, Chloe's mean to her, you know, there's not really that much to say. Interesting dynamics could be explored here, like Sabrina becoming dissatisfied with Chloe's treatment of her, or Chloe learning to see Sabrina as an actual friend. But these storylines are only explored for an episode at best, and then we return to the status quo of their master-servant friendship. But this was back in the good old days when Chloe's character wasn't completely eviscerated before our very eyes, and so we didn't feel the need to mention it every day in Thomas Astruc's Twitter feed. Chloe's character wasn't ruined because there was nothing to ruin. I mean, you can't throw tomatoes at a painting that doesn't exist.
Subpar analogy aside.
We weren't able to get any depth to Chloe's character until season 2. Speaking of which... in season 2, something changed about Chloe. She started to show up less and less in early season 2 to the point where I was asking where she even was. It's almost like they were holding off on giving us too much Chloe at once because they were preparing a big story arc for her. And this arc is kicked off midway through the season from the episode Zombie Zoo. This episode and Despair Bear both showcase how Chloe could change if she really let herself, and that she does have the capacity to be a better person. Despair Bear gave us a tiny look at Chloe's humanity through Adrian saying that Chloe can't be his friend anymore unless she starts acting nicer to everybody. And so Chloe is forced to see the consequences of her actions for the first time. Chloe's butler tries to help her be nice, but eventually Chloe snaps when too many things don't go her way. And Chloe ends the episode in the same position she's always been, a mean, egocentric brat. I'm pretty sure that Adrian even jokes to himself about how Chloe will never change, which is some pretty disconcerting foreshadowing there. But then Zombie Zoo airs and basically says, hang on a second, maybe Chloe can change for the better. In the episode, it's Miss Boustier's birthday, and Marinette gives a very thoughtful gift for her, but Chloe completely defaces it. Marinette goes crazy over this, but Miss Boustier is more kind and compassionate, trying to get Marinette to see the good in Chloe and to forgive her. And at the end of the episode, Chloe actually does apologize to Miss Boustier for all of the trouble that she caused, which is just a huge stepping stone. And she actually does get Miss Boustier a gift, albeit very secretly because her pride won't let her admit that she did something nice for somebody. But it's a start, and that's what matters, because redemption arcs always start off slow. The audience wants to see a character slowly re-examine their morals and become a better person for it. This episode also gives us a little crumb of Chloe's backstory, which makes things really intriguing.
It's not her fault, okay? Chloe just doesn't like birthdays. She never remembers them, just like her mom. Yeah, well, you don't have to tell him my life story either.
Chloe's mother. She's been absent all the show. I wonder if we'll get to see her at some point.
International Queen of Fashion, Director of Style Queen Magazine, Audrey Bourgeois.
Andre, be a dear and fire the chauffeur. I can't believe Gabriel allows his staff to drive like that. And neither do I.
Oh, so that's why Chloe is a stuck-up, egotistical brat to everyone around her. She's emulating her mother's behavior. Everything's starting to make sense now. Andre spoils her to compensate for the lack of love that Audrey gives her. All Chloe wants is her mother's love and attention, and so she tries to be like her to make her proud. Chloe likely sees Audrey's return to Paris as a way to get respect from her. This is Chloe's second chance from Audrey, if she just does everything right. Chloe does everything that she can to get the respect and approval of someone who doesn't even remember her name, and it's her own mother. And as we all know, Audrey gets akumatized into Style Queen, and Ladybug thinks that she needs help from a bee heroine, and so she takes the Bee Miraculous but loses it, and it ends up in Chloe's hands. And in Queen Wasp, when Marinette is given attention from Chloe's mother, when she was never able to scrape up any love from her at all, she snaps. Audrey says that Marinette's exceptional, and that Chloe isn't. And so in a last-ditch attempt to get any decency from her mother, she transforms into Queen Bee. Her logic is, well, if my mother thinks I'm a superhero, then she has to love me, right? And so she creates a situation in which a bunch of people will be in perilous danger to try and save them and impress her mother, specifically making a train almost run into a wall. Ladybug and Cat Noir save Queen Bee and honestly rightfully chastise her for doing something incredibly foolish and dangerous, but all Chloe really wanted was the love of her mother, and she thought this would get her that. Being neglected by her mother once again and being humiliated by Ladybug both cause her to get akumatized. The fight against Queen Wasp is pretty short, but that's okay okay, because that's not really what this episode was about. And so I'm going to skip past it because it's not really relevant to Chloe's arc, which is what I'm talking about. So after the fight, Ladybug tries to get the Bee Miraculous back from Chloe, but Chloe tearfully pleads for a second chance to prove herself. Then the news reporters show up with Audrey in tow via iPad, and she has some things to say about her daughter, which aren't exactly ideal.
According to me, Chloe just clearly demonstrated that there is nothing exceptional about her.
And this is when Chloe realized that no matter what she does, Audrey will never accept her. But Ladybug and Kanawha reassure her that it's not too late, and she can fix her mistakes. And it starts with giving back the Bee Miraculous, which she does, and she apologizes for the mess that she's made. Chloe's finally letting her ego go. It's so inspiring to watch. This episode signified a turning point for Chloe's character. She's finally realizing her mistakes and she's trying to amend them. And I cannot wait to see where her arc goes from here. And I'm very lucky because in the very next episode, Maledictator, things get even better. In Maledictator, Chloe's classmates make fun of her for a Queen Bee documentary that she made for a homework project. Chloe is furious about this humiliation and so just decides to leave. She and Audrey try to get Andre, the mayor of Paris, and Chloe's father to fire the teachers and kick her classmates out of school. When Andre tries to explain to them that he's only the mayor and so doesn't have the power to ruin people's lives like that, they threaten to leave Paris. Losing his wife and daughter like this gets Andre akumatized into Maledictator. He can command people to do whatever he tells them to because of his evil mayoral powers. And so Maledictator tries to find his daughter so that he can make things right with her and do what she wanted him to do. Ladybug realizes that she's going to need Chloe's help to defeat Maledictator, and so she seeks her out. But as a test of some kind of moral compass, Ladybug asks Chloe why Andre got akumatized into Maledictator. Instinctively, Chloe blames Marinette like she does for all of her problems, always blaming somebody else. But Ladybug pushes further and tries to get Chloe to admit the truth. And she does. She admits that it's her fault Andre got akumatized. She tells Ladybug that it's her fault because she wanted to leave Paris and Andre couldn't handle that. But she goes a bit further than that. Chloe admits just how upset she feels that nobody likes her and how she has no friends. She calls herself useless. Seeing this vulnerability in Chloe urges Ladybug to try and show some compassion. She tells Chloe that she's not useless and that she can serve a purpose and she can fix her mistakes. It is this newfound understanding between Chloe and Ladybug that earns Chloe the right to use the Bee Miraculous again. And so Ladybug and Queen Bee work together to take down Maledictator. Chloe makes things right with her father by freeing him from Hawkmoth's grasp. And after the fight, she willingly gives the Bee Miraculous back and really shows that she understands what being a hero is really about. Queen Bee is helping Chloe become a better person, and I'm all here for it. Honestly, getting to see Chloe's more human side is such a treat because it gives her layers. Now she's trying to make things right. And we get to see her help out the heroes again as Queen Bee in the season 2 finale. Queen Bee really made the episodes a lot better because now Chloe isn't just a one-dimensional bully. She's a real character. Honestly, I am so excited to see what happens to Chloe in future seasons and see how much better she becomes as a person and a character. I'm so excited for season 3. Oh my goodness. Chloe, please tell me that you're going to stay this way. Please tell me that you'll keep changing. Please tell me that you'll be a good person. No, that's not what happens. No, please, no, don't let me talk about Miracle Queen, please. There has to be something good in season 3 with Chloe's character, please. Oh my goodness, what happened here? What happened to all of Chloe's character development from the latter half of season 2? Where is it? Why on earth is she up to the same old tricks that she would do in season 1? It's almost like this was a bad omen for the future. Okay, to be charitable, it's not all bad. There is Queen Bee stuff in this season, and Chloe does have some good moments. For example, she fights Mayora to try and get her Miraculous for Ladybug and to impress her. But from the top of my head, Miraculous is the only Queen Bee episode we get this season that doesn't involve her character being destroyed in every way possible. In the episode Stormy Weather 2, she's bullying another classmate, Aurora Boreal, because of her poor grades. And this feels really strange because of all the development that she had when she was Queen Bee. But now she's just back to being mean and her same old season 1 self. They've undone most of her character development and now she only wants to be Queen Bee just for the fame. Sure, there was a bit of pride to this in season 2, but mostly she just wanted to be Queen Bee to impress her mother and make amends with her father. And that's not even the worst part, because in the season 3 finale, after being passed over by Ladybug to be given the Bee Miraculous so many times, She joins Hawkmoth to get revenge. And they reverted her character back to Season 1 status. But even Season 1 Chloe had the occasional bright spot and loved Ladybug. Now she hates Ladybug. And so with her newfound akumatized powers, Miracle Queen takes control of her fellow Miraculous holders and forces them to fight against Ladybug and Cat Noir. Queen Bee's betrayal honestly hit me like a brick when I first saw it. And I actually thought that she might betray Hawkmoth and is just tricking him. But no, she's siding with him now, undoing all of her character growth and development, and completely making the latter half of Season 2 completely pointless. You know, the show writers actually said on Twitter or somewhere that Chloe didn't actually change at all during Seasons 2 and 3, unless she only wanted to be Queen Bee for attention and clout. So, show writers, why did you get my hopes up about Chloe potentially being a better person only to rip it all away from me at the last second? Now we're never going to see Queen Bee again because Ladybug realized that Chloe is no longer worthy to wield the Beam Miraculous, which is so disappointing. There has to be some other way to justify this, right? I mean, how about we check the official Miraculous Ladybug website and see what they have to say about Chloe? Chloe Bourgeois is the daughter of the mayor of Paris who panders to her every whim, and of a famous fashion journalist who did not raise her and can barely remember her name. Chloe has two favorite pastimes, bullying her favorite punching bag Marinette and playing nasty tricks on other people with the help of Serena. When she uses the Bee Miraculous and becomes Queen Bee, she can't help but try to stand out, ready to cheat if it means she'll look like a hero? She'll tell you that this is ridiculous, utterly ridiculous, but Chloe is a lost cause? She's a brat and she will always be a brat? Okay, so I guess that all those moments in Season 2 when she genuinely wanted to help people were just lies. She just wanted to stand out. She wasn't actually helping people as Queen Bee, she was just cheating. Whatever the heck that means. This very much feels like Damage Control post to Miracle Queen. They're actively spitting in the face of Chloe's attempts to get better, and it very much feels like they're trying to gaslight us into thinking Queen Bee was just a self-absorbed brat who only cared about heroics because it made her look good. When that is not the case, not at all. Ask anybody when Maledictator aired, they would tell you that Chloe's repentance was genuine. Chloe was the most interesting character in Season 2, and Season 2 was frankly better for it. Now Chloe just feels like a cardboard stand-in, a mockery of her former self. Queen Bee was one of the few interesting heroes, and now she's been taken away from us for this bland storyline. And what makes even less sense is Hawkmoth's dependence on Chloe, of all people. Why does he want Chloe on his side so badly, as if she could actually contribute something useful to the team? He's worked so hard to get Chloe to be on his side, but it just doesn't seem worth it because of Chloe's unreliability. He's turned her into a teenage girl who hates Ladybug and loves him and is more than willing to get akumatized for the sake of petty revenge. Wait, hang on a minute. Teenage girl hates Ladybug, likes Hawkmoth, wants to get akumatized. Chloe's just been turned into a copy of Lila. All of the character traits that once made Lila unique have now been just passed off to Chloe. Great, so now we have two characters who fulfill the exact same purpose. The only difference between Chloe and Lila is that Lila is better at hiding her evil nature than Chloe is. But the audience knows that she's a rotten apple just like Chloe is, and so this difference doesn't really distinguish them in my eyes. And Chloe's redemption could have really drawn a contrast between the two. While Chloe gets more heroic over the seasons, Lila gets worse and worse. However, the writers don't seem very interested in capitalizing on the contrast between these two characters because Chloe is a lost cause according to them. And so they throw an astronomical amount of story potential for Chloe's redemption just to prove Astruc's misguided point. That she's completely irredeemable and deserves absolutely no sympathy from anyone ever. And yet they can't erase the more sympathetic moments that Chloe had in previous seasons, and so the only way forward is to characterize her as even worse than she was before. Which very nicely brings us to the next segment of this video essay. As mentioned in my ranking the Season 4 episodes video, Chloe's character really took a nosedive in terms of uniqueness after Season 3. Now she's even worse than she even was in Season 1. Now she's chronically angry, doesn't care about anybody but herself, and lives to make everyone's lives as miserable as possible. And while technically she was almost all of those things before, there's an added bonus this season that I just love. Now she's actively on Shadowmoth / Monarch's side and wants him to succeed. And there was potential for this this character shift coming into season 4, specifically by highlighting her evil actions in Miracle Queen and how that's affected herself morally and affected those around her. But they don't really take this opportunity anywhere. Chloe seems to have gotten off scot-free for siding with Hawkmoth. And honestly, while watching season 4 episodes, it was really weird to see the other characters just kind of deal with Chloe's presence while also kind of being aware of what she did in Miracle Queen and how evil it truly was. All they really talk about is how she used to be Queen Bee, but they don't really mention why she's not Queen Bee anymore. It's really weird how the season 3 finale isn't brought up at all in season 4, not even once from the top of my head. And yet Shadowmoth still tries to use her and nobody's doing anything about it. And yes, she does get willingly akumatized in both Queen Banana and Penalty, but it isn't really enough to justify the character change in my opinion. Her being willingly akumatized is always negated by the end of the episode because the characters all just kind of forget that ever happened and just deal with her like one of the other characters. If you really want to demonize Chloe so much, why don't you go all out with it? Have her do more to help Shadowmoth than just sit down, cross her fingers and hope that he'll send an Akuma her way. Make her an active and serious threat, like Lila is. And this is not helped with the introduction of Zoe. I feel like the writers spent so much time making Chloe look like an irredeemable monster that they forgot to really flesh out Zoe as a character. I mean, look at this poll that I did a week ago. Only 10% of the people who voted wanted a Zoe Lee video essay. That says it all right there. And to be frank, I don't blame those people at all for not wanting to see me talk about Zoe, because what is there to talk about? She's Chloe's half-sister from New York and she's nice? That's pretty much it. And it's so obvious that she only exists to replace Chloe as the Bee Miraculous holder. Hang on a second. I think that the official Miraculous Ladybug website might disagree with me again. Zoe Lee is Chloe's younger half-sister. They share the same mother. Yeah. Zoe's the true holder of the Miraculous of the Bee. Listen, writers, if you have to explicitly tell me to my face that Zoe is a better fit for the Bee Miraculous rather than showing me, chances are I'm not going to believe you. And you know something that I've noticed? Lila isn't really present in season 4 until the finale. It's like that they ended up noticing just how similar they ended up making Lila and Chloe, and so cut out Lila from the majority of season 4 as some damage control. That way, we could just slowly forget what Lila was like and how she acted, and just transpose all of that behavior onto Chloe. Now, you wouldn't be wrong to assume that Chloe's hit absolute rock bottom in terms of her character, but no, there's more. Let's talk about season 5 Chloe now. In season 5, not only is Chloe abhorrently and comically evil, she's also a complete idiot. In Deflagration, she asks her alliance ring to define what generous means because for some reason she's forgotten, even though she's used that word before. I've checked. Not only that, but she's trying to find new ways to get under Marinette's skin. Now she's resorting to physical violence, which she's never ever done before. In season 1, Chloe was just name calling. She would never actually attack somebody. This really feels like a desperate attempt from the writers and Thomas Astruc himself to make us hate Chloe a lot. Not only that, but she also gets willingly akumatized into Soul Destroyer when things don't go her way. This is just a blatant copy of Zoe's akumatized form in Soul Crusher, and it's really disappointing. It's like they can't do anything original with Chloe anymore. And Chloe's character just gets dragged deeper and deeper into the mud as the season progresses. Season 5 episode 14 Derision really focuses on just how awful Chloe's bullying was to Marinette in the previous school year in a flashback. Keep in mind that this flashback takes place before season 1, and yet Chloe acts way worse than she ever did in season 1. One of Chloe's bullying tactics actually goes too far, and Marinette almost gets in some seriously dangerous trouble. Chloe's prank caused Marinette to fall off of the plank from an extreme height and fall into the pool, which is very dangerous. This apparently traumatized Marinette so much that every time she goes to the pool, she has severe panic attacks. But do you know how I know that this is just another clumsy attempt by the writers in order to get us to hate Chloe? In the season 4 episode Mr. Pigeon 72, which takes place a season before this episode, Marinette is perfectly fine at the pool. She is absolutely okay with going to the swimming pool that traumatized her, which is really the proof I need. So the writers sacrificed the continuity of their show to make Chloe look bad. Great. It doesn't get any worse than this, does it? Believe it or not, yes it does. In the episodes Collusion and Revolution, Chloe is at the apex of her evil. She actually tries to get her pregnant teacher fired just to get her way. She also gets Marinette expelled for hitting her, even though she didn't hit her at all. And Chloe doesn't even give two hoots about Miss Bustier trying to appeal to her good nature when it worked in Zombie Zoo. This is honestly the absolute worst we've seen of Chloe because she's manipulating everyone around her, but she is being manipulated herself. specifically by Lila. And this really ties back to what I said at the start of the season 5 segment when I say that Chloe is really stupid in this season. All of a sudden Chloe can't think of anything evil on her own and needs Lila to hold her hand the whole time. Then all of a sudden, in the end of the episode, Andre, the mayor of Paris, renounces his power, which for some reason makes Chloe the new mayor. Then in the episode Revolution, she teams up with Monarch to give herself even more power over Paris. And while akumatized, she just acts horribly tyrannical to everybody around her. She abuses her mayoral powers in order to make life a misery for her key enemies. But these aren't really Chloe's ideas because Lila's whispering in her ear the whole time via an earpiece. At this point, she's lost absolutely all of her redeeming qualities. I bet season 5 Chloe doesn't even eat anymore and just gets her sustenance from the tears of the people she hates. And once again, this is the writers forcing us into a story that doesn't work just to give us an excuse to see Chloe at her worst again. I mean, realistically, nobody would ever let a teenage girl be the mayor of Paris. Thomas Astruc's hatred for Chloe is just so strong it seems that he's willing to sacrifice the way the world works. But that's not all. This episode is Chloe's last episode this season, and probably of all time, I'm not really sure. And so she gets her comeuppance this episode, and it is quite a comeuppance, let me tell you. Andre sends Audrey away with Chloe on a plane. They're both going to New York, and Audrey chastises Chloe for losing all of her power. In order to get some kind of revenge, she calls Marinette on her alliance ring, and...
Quiet, Chloe. I already know your little secret. You've lost any and all power over us. You're the one who's ridiculous, Chloe. Utterly ridiculous. Enjoy your trip.
After losing all of her power, she gets sent away with her abusive, neglectful mother to New York, and she cries to herself. I feel like that Thomas Astruc actually wanted us to just cheer that Chloe was finally getting what she deserved. But all I can see is the tragedy in her character. Chloe's mother abandoned her at a young age, and she never really moved on from that. She acts out because she's really heartbroken about how her mother doesn't actually love her, and at the end of season 5 she's being sent away with her, presumably to be treated even worse. Are we just supposed to ignore that Chloe's behavior is because of her parents? Am I supposed to be devoid of sympathy when her mother is going to be her primary caregiver for the rest of her life? A woman who clearly doesn't care about her and is probably going to treat her about as well as the dirt at the bottom of her shoes. I feel like that this goes without saying, but that's messed up. If the writers really wanted us to hate Chloe so much, they just shouldn't have given her these sympathetic traits. They should have introduced Zoe in season 2 and just made her the Be Miraculous holder instead. Then Chloe wouldn't have had her character assassinated because she would have stayed that way the whole show. Giving her a slight redemption at the end of season 2 makes it all the more painful when it's ripped away from us at the very end. And I just watched season 4 and 5 and see the writers twist Chloe's character into all sorts of crazy shapes and sizes to justify the story they've given her. They've robbed us of the good message that anyone can change and anyone can grow from their past mistakes. Queen Bee was the perfect reflection of the show's potential to write interesting characters and redemption arcs. And yet, Thomas Astruc's ego and hatred of a character he created has gotten in the way of this message and the story. Imagine if Chloe learned to rise above her awful childhood and learned to love other people the way her mother couldn't love her. Imagine if she decided to apologize to everybody that she's hurt after realizing she's only lashing out because of her insecurities. Imagine if Chloe confronted her mother about how awful she is to her and strove to do better than her mother. Just imagine for a second that Chloe was allowed to evolve and change and grow. But instead, by the end of season 5, she's a mockery of her former self and is also just a carbon copy of another character, Lila Rossi. Chloe's character assassination is a testament to the show itself. The status quo will never change and every character will remain the same as they always have. If you've made mistakes and have done bad things, there's no hope for you, so you might as well keep going with your evil because you'll never change. And even if you do good things when you were previously making mistakes, you're probably only doing it for your pride. I'm sorry, but I just refuse to believe that there was absolutely nothing sincere going on in Chloe's heart when she became Queen Bee. She didn't just want attention, but the attention of her mother. And it's really sad because everything that the show is throwing at us is telling us that the opposite is true. Why do you think that the website officially calls Chloe a lost cause? Why do you think that she was flanderized in seasons 4 and 5? Why do you think Chloe's arc ended in the tragic dark way that it did. It's because Thomas Astruc wants to make a point about people who refuse to change their ways, while completely forgetting that Lila is the perfect character for such a lesson. Chloe's character assassination retroactively makes Lila less important, and this ripple effect exacerbates with every second that goes by where Chloe's actions in Miracle Queen go unacknowledged by the cast. If any of you that are watching this video essay are thinking of writing a story or are in the process of doing so, please remember this advice. Don't be like Thomas Astruc. Don't let your hatred for a character consume you and blind you to all the potential they have. Redemption arcs and the message that anyone can change if they put in the effort is very powerful, and you never know just how much of your audience needs to hear that lesson. Thanks for watching this video essay, everyone. I realize now that the intro I did about encouraging more people to subscribe, shouting out the subscribers, and, you know, talking about the views is really outdated now, but in my slight defense, I did do that bit a week ago, so I've got some updates to make. Thank you so much for 1.1k views in my first video. It means the world to me that this channel is finally getting off the ground, and I'd like to thank each and every one of you who decided to take valuable time out of your days to watch something I made. Also, now I have 32 subscribers. Thank you all so much. It means the world to me, and I know I've said that before, but that's because I mean it. Also, thanks to Sweet Dreams for subscribing. I'm only saying this now because as of the time in which I was filming the intro, they were not subscribed to my channel. Honestly, the stark contrast between the intro and the outro and how outdated the intro is now really just goes to show just how fast my channel grew in such a short amount of time. And it's all thanks to you guys who subscribed to the channel and watched my last video. I could not have done any of this without your help. Thank you so much. Also, my favorite comment of the last video was World of Miraculous 5338 telling me how they would rank the season 4 episodes. Thanks so much for sharing your opinion with me. This has been a critical retrospective, and I'll see you in the next video essay.